Hi everybody, welcome to this month's edition of Civil Engineering Today. Today we're going to be talking about a bridge that we are all love dearly, and it's the Northern Avenue Bridge. And I have two special guests with me today. I have Michael Tyrrell of, he's one of the founders of the Friends of the Northern Avenue Bridge, and he's an architect and planner in Boston, and one of the founders of the Four Point Neighborhood Association. And also I have Bruce Rosenbaum with us today, and Bruce is a steampunk guru and Modvic designer of steampunk and all kinds of great adaptive reuses and sort of bringing the old and the new together. Right. And that's sort of the situation we have in Boston. Just want to give you guys a chance. First, let's talk about the 4 Point Channel and the Friends of the 4 Point Channel. Who are the Friends of the 4 Point Channel?
Well, the Friends of the 4 Point Channel, they're a separate group, actually. The Friends of the North, I think you were meaning Friends of the Northern Avenue Bridge.
Northern Avenue Bridge.
Yeah, well, that's okay. There have been people, although I no longer live in the 4 Point neighborhood, I was very active there and made a number of contacts, a circle of friends. There are many artists and people who live in the neighborhood who are very passionate about the industrial history of the area, of course, the warehouses. A number of folks in the neighborhood were very successful in getting the district landmarked. The bridges are a very important part of that. And so quite a few of us from the neighborhood, or even just in the profession of architecture and planning in Boston, see the potential of these bridges as a way to complement the future development of the 4 Point Channel area. What the BRA would refer to now as the 4.100 acres plan. That's a very large area, slated for future growth. It's mostly parking lots now. It's an area where GE intends to build its headquarters. That is an area, including all the way up to Fan Pier, where the Northern Avenue Bridge is. That can all benefit from preservation of the bridges. In fact, I'll just add, the Congress Street Bridge has been completely renovated. Of course, that's where the Tea Party Ship Museum is. And of course, more current is the Northern Avenue Bridge, which, there's been a broader circle, and Bruce can get into where we've been going. But the Friends of the Northern Avenue Bridge is just, our goal is to bring attention to the potential of the bridge as an adaptive reuse opportunity. And later in the segment, we can talk about some examples of bridges that have been saved.
And then I want to talk a little bit about bringing the old and the new and the whole steampunk idea. What is steampunk? Like, you haven't been asked that question
right,
a
exactly.
bajillion times.
That's the number one question. And you know what? It's very difficult to actually define it because it's ever changing. But I like to kind of make it simple, almost as a math equation. Steampunk equals history plus art plus technology. Kind of think of HAT, steampunk hat. And it's really a way for us to be able to look towards the past and grab the best of the past, bring it forward, make some changes to make it relevant for today, but then also create something to tell you about the vision of the future. So really in one space and one time, you're fusing the past, the present, and the future. And how I kind of made the connection with steampunk and the Northern Avenue Bridge was, I've been, just as you guys have been connected to the bridge for decades, I've been looking at that bridge and saying, what's happening to it? In its deteriorated state. I don't know if you remember the song by Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Yeah. This is Troubled Bridge Over Water, basically. And so it's been in my mind. And it was earlier this year, I was actually meeting a client in the seaport and seeing all these changes that are happening there. And literally later that week, I see an article in the Boston Globe. And what's the headline? Steampunk Seaport. All right. Talking about the bridge. And I just said, oh my God, there's some connection here that I would love to get involved with. So who was mentioned in the article? Greg Gaylor, who's the executive director of the Boston Preservation Alliance. I gave Greg a call. We actually met for coffee, and we really connected on a lot of different levels. And he mentioned to me, listen, I know people who are interested in saving that bridge. maybe we can kind of get together a team of people. So he introduced me to Michael, also to Paul Farrell, Dan McNichol, and I also have friends who are interested in adaptive reuse and restoration. So I brought a couple of my architect friends into the mix, Chris Doctor and Mark Landsberg. And then just by coincidence, the day of our first meeting, I get an email from Reed Brockman.
Yeah, so I jump into the mix.
Yeah, you jumped into the mix. It's like, and you made that meeting.
That's right.
Yeah. And
It's nice. I'm right in the area, you know.
No, absolutely.
I can easily get over there really fast.
Yeah. So we met right at the restaurant right across from the bridge. What's the name of the restaurant?
Envoy?
The Envoy, the new hotel.
New hotel right there.
So we got to see it in front of us as we were talking. And I think, it just became this really strong team of really passionate people who want to save this bridge, because we had a structural engineer, we had architects, we had designers, we had planners. I think we had a really great mix of people. And at that point, we didn't even know that there was going to be a competition,
Right.
I don't think.
Yeah, or maybe...
No, it hadn't been announced.
Yeah, it hadn't been announced. There was some inkling of it, but it was just...
Right.
And it's what the contest was. It wasn't like a, serious it was an idea sharing competition.
Exactly.
where-
Right.
Yeah.
Man, that contest had a lot of responses and a lot of great ideas
Yeah.
through it.
Over 130 submissions.
Right.
Yeah.
99 graphic and 30 written. Some of the written essays were really amazing.
Yeah, they were incredible. And we were very excited because it seemed like a lot of the submissions and the winners were wanting to save the bridge versus just getting rid of what's there and then creating something new. So I think there were 7 winners, right? 5 graphic presentations and 2 written essays,
correct,
and then 2 honorable mentions.
And we were...
And we were the honorable mentions. Yeah, so...
Yeah, Steampunk scored.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and the idea, kind of the vision for, for what we pitched, which was a graphic board, was Steampunk Gateway, reimagining Boston's Maritime's future. And so the idea was that we were going to get together and try to first have the idea of saving and restoring the bridge and bringing back its functionality as a swing bridge.
Right.
Knowing that was such a unique feature of the bridge, and but first, understanding the condition of the bridge and what can be done. And you were able to fill a really great role in terms of helping to assess the condition of the bridge.
Right. I've been out there. I used to, for a contract that I was on for a while. I was looking after the bridges, and I was on that all the time. Plus, I run tours for schools, so I'm constantly on that bridge. And it's actually a real bummer with that bridge swung 90 degrees.
Right.
Yeah.
That I can't bring anybody out there. But on the underside, I got to say that bridge is in rough shape. It's really sad to see, like there's a John Oliver piece on the infrastructure, and it's saying that everybody likes building new things, but there's no interest in the maintenance. Like nothing exciting about maintaining something. Everybody wants the new something.
Right.
But at the same time, you just look at like something. This is, right now in the city of Boston, it's the only spinning swing bridge in Boston. There's other ones outside of Boston a little bit.
Right.
But there's in Boston, it's the North Washington Street Bridge. Maybe a swing bridge, but with gas pipes running and all kinds of utilities. I don't think they should really swing it. I think it might be a bad. No, I mean you can't swing it.
Well, and of course, we're going to lose that. The the Charlestown Bridge, which has similarities to the Northern Avenue Bridge, is going to be demolished and replaced.
Right, and it's going to have more of that character of
it'll be a nice
pedestrian walkway,
nice
it
new
sounds.
bridge, and that is a very highly traveled corridor. You can kind of see the priority there, but the Northern Avenue Bridge seems to be an opportunity to really do something more in terms of retaining the historic character of the area. But
The one thing I got to say, I love what they've done in South. That area was a giant parking lot for as long as I remember. Right. And then
Other than Pier 4, which had a big parking lot too.
Yeah, right.
Victoria Station. I
Victoria Station,
remember
right.
those days.
But I mean, they built the courthouse, and but no matter what, that old talk about steampunk history, that old, there was they call it the fan pier because it was a fan of railroad tracks coming
exactly.
around.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and there was tracks all over the place. There was tracks going across the Northern Avenue Bridge. And the whole railroad world,
Right.
is sort of disappearing, that character. And even before that, the ship world, they dock tall ships over there, but you're in a city-looking area, a modern-looking city area, which is awesome for the city of Boston.
Right.
And it's an exciting place.
Yeah, and I think too, part of what we wanted to do is the bridge becomes a physical connection from the past, Boston's past, to its present and to its future, and creating this kind of a gateway mobility where people can actually move from the financial district into the seaport,
Right.
but also having become a destination where the bridge becomes really a living museum. Where we talk about the past, present, and future on the bridge, allowing some transport, right? When we talked about, I think Dan McNichol talked about boots, bikes, and
Boots, buses, and bikes.
Right.
Yeah, like a hybrid.
and a hybrid with maybe emergency vehicles going through, but mostly a pedestrian destination.
Right.
And part of the kind of the neat idea we were talking about is having that railroad kind of the rails still on the bridge, and then putting rail cars there as food carts, type of thing.
It would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Boston has had this great tradition of blending the old and the new, and we've been incredibly successful in preserving our colonial and Victorian past, but we need to do more with the machine age, and I think that the Northern Avenue Bridge really gets right to that era. That was an incredible time in the history of the nation in terms of the nation's growth and its industrial prowess. And so exactly, I mean, from an urban planning and design perspective, it's a natural transition point between the Rose Kennedy Greenway and the Fan Pier, seaport area, which of course is burgeoning. But many of those buildings, I mean, they're very attractive. It's very positive for the city, but it's also new. It's kind of like you need this element to anchor us to the heritage of the district and its origins. And so I think if folks want to see examples of bridges that have been saved, don't hesitate. Go to our Facebook page. And we're at.
I think we got a couple of them too.
Sure. If you go to, we can look. If you go to Friends of the Northern Avenue Bridge on Facebook, we've got a lot of background. And you mentioned we have some.
Yeah, I think one in Cleveland. I think it's at Center Street.
This Center Street Bridge. That's a bobtail swing span. The Bardwell's Ferry Bridge between Conway and is it Shelburne? Yeah, I think so. Over the Deerfield River. That's right here in Mass.
Right. Shelburne and Conway. I didn't actually put in a picture of the Bardwell.
Oh, that's okay, but that's a beauty. And
but I put in the Bridge of Flowers.
But the Bridge of Flowers is wonderful. That's just bridge down the road from the Bardwell's Ferry. And then the other, there was the Walnut Street Bridge in Chattanooga. Big success. It's like over 1,000 feet long. Camelback trusses. City of Chattanooga renovated it, made it into a pedestrian bridge, integrated it with its waterfront parks. And they have this annual event called Wine Over the Water, and it's just incredibly successful. And of course, you're way over the Tennessee River, and it's just incredibly festive. So,
I've seen pictures of the Northern Avenue Bridge, old ones, where when they first built the bridge, it had this giant. The whole thing has to be protected by a fender, and there's a walkway out. It operated from a tender's house that was the end of the fender system, a big house at the end.
Right.
But they had it all timber planked in, and this is a 1920s picture, and everybody's wearing, their tuxedos and the coats and the tails, and
well, if we
there's
make
a
it
big
steampunk,
party out bring it all back.
The Victorian dress, right?
back in spades for sure. Yeah.
I've been in Waltham with the big groups.
Right, exactly.
I know exactly how they
City
go.
Festival, right?
Yeah.
Which is what I'm involved with too. But I think also, one of the things that, again, using the bridge as this bridge to history, I would love to be able to, use technology as a way for teaching and for kiosks, educational kind of component of it. I've seen such amazing technology of these. You've seen the observation scopes, like on top of high buildings, where you kind of look through the binoculars. Well, they have ones now that where actually wherever you're looking, you can see the past
That's
Oh,
awesome.
it's
you can
superimposed?
Yeah, superimposed.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So you could actually do 360s
Sure.
and see old Boston,
Yeah.
and also learn about old Boston. And you know who it can be sponsored by? GE. Who's moving on to the seaport.
Sure,
All right?
that could be
I
terrific.
think we have to talk to them, but
All right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think we should entertain that. I
Yeah.
think that, you know, we're going to be doing a lot for them. I think, you know, it'd be nice.
Right.
right, with them moving in right over there. And
Yeah.
that brings up another thing that's happening right there. You talked about this being a museum piece, but that harbor walk really is a colossal museum piece.
Yes.
Exhibit after exhibit, everybody should just walk that harbor walk a lot,
Yeah.
I think. There's so much to learn on there. Every bridge you cross,
Yes.
and I know this because I can make a tour of Boston's bridges go on for 7 hours. Like,
Yeah.
there's a story, there's
Yeah.
things that have happened, and there's the way the bridges work are incredible. I mean, on that stretch right there, Northern Avenue Bridge is a swing bridge, which was an original concept by Leonardo da Vinci once upon a time.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Stem, and this one's, turning on a turntable 90 degrees, things go by, then you spin it back. But right next to it is a bascule bridge, the Congress Street
Congress
Bridge.
is hinged.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's got the weight on one side, it's got that's, distance, force times distance equals force times distance. You turn a little motor, the weight comes down, it goes up, it comes
That's
down.
right.
Then you come one more down, and then you've got a real drawbridge. I know everybody calls drawbridge that, but that's not what a drawbridge is. A drawbridge is anything that's physically pulled. So then you got one where that's a horizontal pull, and there used to be, they kept a lot when they built the Summer Street
Yes.
Bridge. And they did a beautiful job. They took the whole thing
Yeah.
off, but it used to once upon a time, they put the tracks coming out partway,
That's the one where the decks slide away at an angle.
slide away at a 45-degree angle,
Yeah.
right, out to the sides.
Yeah, there's some great pictures of, I guess the Cuban sugar freighters used to come up to, there was a Domino sugar
Yeah, yeah.
refinery where Gillette is today, I think. Yeah.
Yep. But the way that used to work was, you had to pull it out and pull it in. So you had two winches with these giant cables on it. And one was on a pulley and one was direct pull. And you were physically two different sets of them on opposite sides of the bridge. And they, both had to get out of the way. And it was before telephones, and they were signaling each other with horns and crazy.
Yeah.
But
Like
one of-
history we got.
Yeah, and one of the things I think I'm very passionate about too with steampunk is creating functional art. So it does something, it moves, it's kinetic, it has a purpose. And I would love the idea of bringing back that swing functionality and use it in a way that it becomes a destination and entertainment, basically, where
Right.
people can be on the bridge at the time that it's turning to be part of that experience. And I don't know. There's a lot of factors, of course,
Right.
out
There's
there.
safety factors.
There's safety factors and all that. But just to kind of start that conversation, if that can happen, because I think that would be a tremendous draw to the bridge, if I can say draw and bridge together.
Well, there's so many puns with the bridge
exactly.
world.
Oh yeah, we've been through them all.
We're definitely not going to the damn show.
What's your approach?
Right.
So,
Right.
no, I think that's right. And whatever practical demands there will be at that site at Northern Avenue Bridge, I can't overstate that there's been a tremendous number, as you know, Reed, a tremendous number of bridge rehabilitations, historic bridge rehabilitations across the Commonwealth, just right here. I mean, what are we spending? $260 million to rehabilitate the Longfellow Bridge?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be beautiful, and of course it's worthy. It's a city beautiful monument. It has the the wonderful granite salt and pepper shakers.
Yep.
And that's pretty obvious. I think a landmark site like the Northern Avenue Bridge, there are many of us who are passionate about this industrial past, and we feel that that's just as worthy as the Longfellow Bridge. So we're hoping that it will get the attention. And in terms of reusing the actual bridge that's there, I think that hopefully the city will make an earnest attempt to reevaluate that structure and rebuild it in place.
Well, no question that a lot of us have the passion, and hopefully the word spreads and everybody feels the same way. So we're actually coming a little bit towards the end of the show. We still got a few more minutes. But what I want to bring up is some of the things that will be happening in the near future. I know you guys get very involved in reuse designs, and there's going to be some exciting things happening in the city of Boston involving them. You guys know I run for New England a competition called the Future City Competition, and kids in grades 6 through 8 design their dream city of the future, but then they got to explain how it works. But for the 25th anniversary this year, public spaces is the theme.
Right.
So we're challenging kids all over New England. This is New England that we run it. It's a national competition. We're going to try to use Northern Avenue as much as possible and get ideas from kids about what they would do coming to it. And there's other places that we've talked about before. We've talked about coming down a park that you were involved in, developing the rolling girder area.
Right, the Rolling Bridge Park over by Dorchester Avenue Bridge, right, next to Gillette.
Right, right. Coming down a little bit further down the Harbor Walk.
Oh, yeah.
Like right at the tail.
Not far from the Broadway Bridge.
Right.
Yeah. And that, right, well, so there's opportunity there. I think along those lines, the youth, this group, what's the name of the group again? It's the, this group that you'd be doing the program for, you could expose them to other planning things that are happening in the area as well.
Right.
For example, the expansion of South Station. Obviously we'd like to focus on the bridge, but there's a lot of other things happening in that area. You could educate them on the context in which we would want to restore the Northern Avenue Bridge.
Right, and we've been bringing in, it's nice because it brings together communities that don't always work together. We've got, everybody uses the term STEAM like crazy, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
Thank you for including the A for
I
arts.
always include the A.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Right.
But it should be in there. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And they're, of course, there's two different ways to look at it. It's either a program in schools or it can be the types of careers that people go into.
Right.
But I can't tell you how many times I run into the arts gets left out.
Yeah.
And people that are there like, I want to design, I want to be a fashion designer. And they don't understand that there's a relation between designing and designing. Engineering designing and artistic designing.
Absolutely.
Got a tie.
Yeah. Can we add punk into that too, so we can add the history
Yes.
and the meaning? Okay,
Yeah,
thank
exactly.
you.
There we go. So I think we're really running out of time. So I'm going to have to draw it to a close. But I'm hoping that great things come of this. And I want to really thank you guys for being on the show. And thank you everybody for watching.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Reed. It's been fun to be on.
Thanks.
Thanks.